Sheikh started teaching, preaching, and inviting people to Allah. He undertook the task of delivering lectures on different branches of knowledge, namely Tawheed, Islamic monotheism, exposition of Quran and Sunnah, knowledge of fiqh and Arabic language, etc. Thus, Dariyah turned into a center of learning and da'wah, and people started migrating to it in a large number. The concourse of people and far-reaching effect of his mission made him far famed, which rendered his enemies into jealous. They started false propaganda against the Sheikh and even blamed him of blasphemy and branded him a zindiq and sorcerer. Sheikh was a man of courage. He did not care for these blames and continued his mission with full enthusiasm. He even debated his opponents in the best manner and in a polite way. This attitude proved very effective and rendered his opponents to be his supporters. Sheikh, along with his work of da'wah, planned for jihad against overwhelming polytheism and heretic ideas and practices, and invited people of all ranks to join in this mission. Delegates from every corner of the Arab Peninsula visited Dariyah to pledge their support to Sheikh and to take lesson of true monotheism of Islam. Then they would return back to their areas to teach the same to their people and educate them. The ruler of Uyayna and the elites took journey to pay visit and requested him to turn back to Uyayna, but Sheikh rejected the proposal. They also pledged to fight for the cause of Islam till their last. Sheikh also sent his disciples to the different regions and countries to preach the teachings of Islam based only on Quran and authentic ahadith of the Prophet. Correspondence with rulers. Sheikh drew the attention of the rulers and the scholars of each region towards the polytheism and heresy in which the people were indulged and invited them for their eradication. For the purpose, he stepped into correspondence. He wrote letters to the rulers, elites, and scholars of Najd, Riyadh, Kharj, towns of the southern region, Qasim, Hayl, Washm, Sudaya, etc. He also wrote to the outstanding ulama of Ahsa, Makkah, and Al-Madinah. Outside the Arab Peninsula, he made correspondence to the learned figures of Syria, Iraq, India, Yemen as well. He maintained his communication with them, explained them the aims and objects of his mission, substantiated the points with Quran and Sunnah, and invited their attention towards the eradication of absurd and heretical beliefs and practices in the masses. Sheikh's mission spread far and wide. A large number of scholars and other people throughout India, Indonesia, Afghanistan, Africa, Morocco, Egypt, Syria, Iraq, etc., got influenced and attracted towards his da'wah. They also stood up in their own regions with a great zeal and enthusiasm to invite the people towards Allah and to the pure and basic teachings of Quran and Sunnah, free from all heresies and misinterpretations. Death. Sheikh dedicated his whole life for this da'wah and jihad with his utmost sincerity and with the help of Muhammad bin Saud and his son Abdul Aziz, the rulers of Dariyah. He breathed his last on the last day of the month of Dhul Qa'dah in 1206 Hijri, 1792 AC. Impact of da'wah. As a result of the continued da'wah, vigorous struggle and jihad in the way of Allah for a long period of about 50 years, from 1158 H to 1206 H, a complete victory over the entire Najd was gained. People abandoned worshipping graves, tombs, shrines, trees, etc., and all the more they deserted all of them and practiced the pure faith of Islam, blind following of the forefathers, ancestors, and traditions in vogue was abandoned, and Sharia was revived and established. Obligatory duties were being observed in the light of Quran and Sunnah. A framework for enjoining good deeds and forbidding bad ones was instituted. Mosques began to be visited by people in abundance for performing salat. Peace and tranquility prevailed everywhere, in towns as well as in villages. People became safe even in deserts and on lonely ways. The ignorant and notorious Bedouins molded their conduct. The preachers and preceptors were sent to every Qura to teach and educate the common people. Thus, a thorough revival of the complete religion came into existence point after the expiry of Sheikh. His sons, grandsons, disciples, and supporters continued the work of da'wah and jihad in the way of Allah. Among his sons, the most ardent in these activities were Sheikh Imam Abdullah bin Muhammad, Sheikh Hussein bin Muhammad, Sheikh Ali bin Muhammad, and Sheikh Ibrahim bin Muhammad, and among his grandsons were Sheikh Abdur Rahman bin Hassan, Sheikh Ali bin Hussein, Sheikh Sulaiman bin Abdullah. Apart from them, a large group of his disciples, including Sheikh Hamd bin Nasir, scholars from Dar'iyah and others, remained continuously engaged in inviting people towards Allah's true religion by writing and publishing books, fighting for the cause of Allah and making correspondence in this regard. Some of his works, despite the fact that Sheikh-ul-Islam Muhammad bin Abdul-Wahab was a reformer and a man of da'wah, he still engaged in writing also. His some famous works are as follows: Birinci Kitab-at-Tawheed, Ikinci Kitab al-Kabair, third Kashf ash-Shubhat, 4 Mukhtasar Sirat al-Rasul, pertama Masdil al-Jahiliyah, 6 Usul al-Iman, 7 Fadail al-Quran, 11 Fadail al-Islam, ديفياتي مجموع الأحاديث، 10 مختصر الإنسائف والشرح الكبير، 11 الأصول الثلاثة، 12 آداب المشي إلى الصلاة, and others. Chapter number 1. At-Tawheed, the oneness of Allah. Allah the Almighty said, "And I, Allah, created not the jinns and men except they should worship me alone." 51 minutes 56 seconds. And he stated, "And verily, we have sent among every ummah, community, nation, a messenger, proclaiming, worship Allah alone, and avoid or keep away from Taghut, all false deities, etc. Ice. Do not worship Taghut besides Allah." 1636. And he said, "And your Lord has decreed that you worship none but him, and that you be dutiful to your parents. If one of them, or both of them, attain old age in your life, say not to them a word of disrespect, nor shout at them, but address them in terms of honor, and lower unto them the wing of submission and humility through mercy, and say, My Lord, bestow on them your mercy, as they did bring me up when I was small." 1723-24. And he said, "Worship Allah and join none with him in worship." 436. And he said, "Say, O Muhammad, come, I will recite what your Lord has prohibited you from, join not anything in. Worship with him, be good and dutiful to your parents, kill not your children because of poverty, we provide sustenance for you and for them. Come not near to shameful sins, illegal sexual intercourse, etc., whether committed openly or secretly, and kill not anyone whom Allah has forbidden except for a just cause, according to Islamic law. This he has commanded you that you may understand. And come not near to the orphan's property except to improve it, until he or she attains the age of full strength, and give full measure and full weight with justice. We burden not any person but that which he can bear. And whenever you give your word, i.e. judge between men or give evidence, etc., say the truth even if a near relative is concerned, and fulfill the covenant of Allah. This he commands you that you may remember. And verily, this is my straight path, so follow it, and follow not other paths, for they will separate you away from his path. This he has ordained for you that you may become al-muttaqeen, the pious. Ibn Mas'ud Sa'id, whoever wishes to ascertain the very will of Prophet Muhammad on which the Prophet has put his seal, let him read the statement of Allah. Say, O Muhammad pus ute I ao. Come, I will recite what your Lord has prohibited you from, join not anything in. Worship with him, up to, and verily, this is my straight path. It is narrated that Mu'ad bin Jabal said, I was riding behind the Prophet on a donkey, and he said to me, O Mu'ad, do you know what is the right of Allah on his slaves, And what is the right of the slaves upon? Allah, I responded, Allah and His Messenger know best. He continued, the right of Allah upon His slaves is to worship Him alone and never to associate anything with Him. The right of slaves upon Him is not to punish any person who does not associate anything with Him. I said, O Allah's Messenger, may I not give the glad tidings to the people? He replied, no, do not inform them lest they rely on this promise and lapse in their service to Him. The above hadith is mentioned in two Sahih books, Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Wisdom of Allah in creating jinn and mankind. Worship is Tawheed, as in this issue there had always been dispute between the prophets and the polytheists. Those who have not fulfilled the requirements of Tawheed are such as they have not worshipped Allah, and in this sense is the meaning of the verse, nor will you worship that which I worship. 109:3. The wisdom in sending the messengers. The message of the Prophet, Tawheed, applies to all nations. All prophets have brought one and the same religion. The major issue is that the worship of Allah cannot be performed until Taghut is denounced and rejected. In this, meaning is the saying of Allah, whoever disbelieves in Taghut and believes in Allah, then he has grasped the most trustworthy handhold. 2:256. At-Taghut is inclusive of all that is worshipped other than Allah. 9. The tremendous importance of the three entirely clear verses of Surah Al-An'am 6:151-153. Among the early pious predecessors, in these verses are 10 issues, the first of which is the prohibition of shirk. 10. The clear verses in Surah Al-Isra 17:22-39 have 18 substantial issues. Allah begins them with, set not up with Allah any other ilaharai, O man, or you will sit down reproved, forsaken, in the hellfire, 17:22, and ended with a colon.